Okay, so what you're seeing now is something I've recorded after just arriving home from MAGFest. Well, actually, it's been almost 2 hours now, and it's going to be what this is going to be a low key sort of review of MAGFest and more of an introspection about its place in my life as a whole and what it means to be me for the rest of the year. So if that's not what you're into, then God, this is not going to be like the other part of the vlog, which was a lot of that anyway. But this is going to be a lot of reiterating of that and talking about that in context, um, because I want to, and because there's just a lot of things, that I feel like I have to get off my chest. Um, and there are a lot of things that I feel every year, basically, and you know, I don't know if I've talked about them, um, extensively or in a form that can be kept. I know part of the rant, a big part of the rant that I had last year, or that is going to go in the other part of the vlog is how it's difficult to balance being with friends and sort of living um at Magfest. And I know that I think I've uploaded it to YouTube before, but I've never um made it public. I think those have always been unlisted vlogs. But this one is not going to be unlisted. This I'm going to talk to you, and the previous one will obviously not be unlisted either. Um, a lot of this is going to talk about post-con blues and why they happen for me. Because this year was very different from last year. Last year was openly very difficult. Um, to the point where it was sort of the next morning, and I was getting ready for work, and I had to stop and sit on the couch and cry for a few minutes. And that's not inherently a bad thing. I think we cry because it's over because we had such a good time. But last year was definitely very different in terms of Magfest, and this year I feel overall went a bit better because last year there were just some things at play that I could, that got a bit out of hand in my mind and in my heart, and you know, it caused emotional turmoil as a result. Um, so this year, happy to report, um, devoid of that, more or less. Um, I think my thesis about how the con actually went this year is that last year I didn't know what it was like to have a squad, like a group of people that constantly wanted me with them, and this year it was something I was sort of more used to, so I felt a bit more like a part of that squad, rather than okay, wow. This is very weird to have this group of friends that's sort of happening all at once. So I think I was a bit more used to it, and of course, I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I like to sum up, another big part of Magfest from last year as this year there was no romantic plot tumor going on in my mind, so I leave that free, and you know this year I was definitely a lot less emotional seeing people go. Yesterday, I didn't cry a whole lot at all, which I felt strange about, but in a way, it was, it has to. I guess it has to happen. Um, Again, the crying didn't really hit me until I sat in my car and had to go, and you know, it was that, and that's where it hits me. And I think the most depressing part of the whole post-con blues thing for me is I was in the elevator to leave the parking garage, and I had this thought, and I thought, in 48 hours, I'm going back to being a bank teller. And that's the most depressing thing to me because, I work, you know, theoretically 360 days out of the year. I don't. I have a day off every week, so that's minus 52, and I'm not doing that math. But, I work, you know, all year for MAGFest to happen, to have 5 days of personal validation where I get face to face contact with people who love me more so for who I am rather than what I do. And that's invaluable, and that feels great, and that feels amazing. Um, and the other days of the years, I don't get that. I was tempted when I sat in my car to like film me being emotional because I would love for people to understand um, how it makes me feel that I have to go back to this other life of mine. If you are one of my friends that's still going to college, for something, um, do it. Do it to the best of your ability. If you are going to school for something that you enjoy doing or are passionate about, I always encourage you to pursue it. Do everything with that in mind. Um, because if you don't, you end up like me. I do something that I'm not passionate about too many days out of the year, and it wears on you. So that's the real sort of challenge. Um, and I think that's a lot of where my post-con depression comes from. It's not necessarily that people are leaving. It's that there's this feeling of now I get to go back to being lonely and just being without friends I can sort of look at in the eyes, and you would be surprised how much eye contact matters. Like it doesn't even like I wanted to say friends I can and touch, but that sounds a little weird. But friends I can give hugs to, and just eye contact, just looking into someone's eyes and like realizing that for the moment you are absolutely the focus of their attention, and it's a good feeling. It makes you feel important. It makes you matter. And I too often in my life is it that not the case for good reasons. I get people staring at me and making eye contact all the time, but it's more because they're waiting for me to finish what I'm doing. Because they're searching my eyes for an answer as to when can this contact end. I have other places to go. So it's that's where that comes from. And Magfest is truly a time for that. And the unfortunate thing is, as I discussed in my other vlog, we are human, and unfortunately, we cannot, you know, uh, things can't be like Magfest 24/7, 365. Um, and I had that thought several times throughout Magfest when I was just walking around and was pretty tired and pretty beat and pretty not feeling well, because there were a couple of moments like that, and I just thought about it, and I'm like, events like this are necessarily unsustainable. It's like there's no productivity or anything like that. And as much as we like to wish that there's that is a thing that can happen, um, it can't. Life is not one big party, and I always I keep telling myself, um, the you can't have the light without the dark. You know the you know the reason black on white looks really good on paper is because the black is the opposite of the white, and it makes it pop out. Um, so it's I keep telling myself that you can't have dark without light, and it's something definitely to remember about something like this. But the dark part still sucks. The dark part still bites again. It's And I think part of it is just that, it's not just that I have to work, the rest of the year now in order to make it to the next MAGFest. Um, it's just, again, that I'm lonely. That for the next 300 days out of the year, probably about 9 of them will contain hugs from a friend. I mean, 9 out of 365. That's not a good look. um, and unfortunately, at the present moment, that's just where my life is, and throughout my vlogs, I've sort of, tried to express that because I love for it to be understood. Um, you know, that's how I live my life, and that's how I necessarily have to live my life, in a way. I mean, I don't know. Is that 9 Discord notifications? It sure is. Where? How? Okay. I will look at those later. I'm willing. Oh, oh, yeah. Okay, that's what that is. It's people tagging me because it's my birthday now, and that's really cute. Um, I mean, that's the other thing. I'm coming home on my birthday, and it's sort of like, ugh. That's part of the reason why it was sort of like, I didn't want to leave yesterday because it meant that I would wake up here, alone on my birthday, and at least this, coming home gave me something to do on my birthday. And at least I still got to see one of my good internet friends, Mr. Nintendo Capri-san, on on this day. So that's super good. Does it mean I'm a little more tired and stuff? Well, yeah. um, but I guess that was one advantage. That was definitely something different this year. I did day 0. Now, I mean, okay, so I've talked sort of about the post-con depression thing, and I really wanted to do that because that's where I'm at for the next few days. But I wanted to also talk about the con itself. This year was the longest MAGFest ever for me. I came down on day 0, which I've never done before, and I left on the day after the day ended. So it was, it was kind of a long haul for me, and that was nice. Day 0 was worth it because you get to see your friends, quicker than normal, and you get to spend a little bit of time with them before the con opens, and that's great. So I definitely feel like that was a big thing. Waiting for the con itself to open was a bit like annoying because like until then there wasn't a whole lot to do, and everyone was just tired from travel. But that's what day 0 is. At least you get to see people, and I'm thankful for that. And then the day after MAGFest is something I do not recommend you do unless you have plans with friends, because after the con closes, that place gets awkward. I know I talked about this in the other part of the vlog, but yeah, don't do that. It really speaks to the impermanence of the event, that you can walk around the Gaylord and no one's there, and there aren't friends there, and there's nothing for you, and it's just a hotel now. A very pretty hotel, absolutely, and I do love me a pretty hotel, but yeah, that was weird. And I think that maybe that's part of the post-con depression thing, is that I was just like, okay. I've literally let the dog live until the very end of its life, and it's like, oh, and then you have to pull the trigger on it. So to all of you who sort of envied me for staying, don't. The fact that you had a set departure time is not a bad thing whatsoever. It's actually really, it's a good thing to have sort of an end point where it's like, okay, I have to be out by this point. because that way it's some other event pulling the trigger rather than you saying, okay, well, I could just stand here all day. That's sort of how it went. But if you've got something to do, if you're gonna have a Smash tournament with your friends or something, or you're gonna record some videos or something, which would be a good opportunity to do, or you're gonna go over to DC and do some karaoke or something like that, would be fun. And that would be a reason to stay another day and leave the next day, I think. And honestly, that would be great because during the con, you really don't have time or the opportunity to do that. So, you know, there's that. The con itself was uh, great, of course. Um, there were so many moments that I enjoyed from, oh geez. Got a bit of the con flu, but, whatever. I can get over it. I haven't had a cold in a long enough time now that this really doesn't bother me. Yet. So yeah, the con was really great. Day zero, I got there. I ran into Twy immediately. We hung out in the lobby. Um, and then Diana and Noel got there, and we went to eat, and then Tim was there. So, day zero was very nice, pleasant. Got to hang out with people. I mean, that was the core group right there. Was sort of those 5 people, myself included. And I like that. I think one of the things I don't particularly care for about MAGFest is that I don't do well in crowds. And I think people probably notice this because during those moments when we're standing around in the lobby or sitting there in the atrium bar or something, people probably notice I just kind of sit there quietly or stand back quietly and watch everybody else interact. I don't like crowds. I don't find my place in them very well, and I don't know when to interject and all of that stuff. It's just something that I have. I don't like crowds. I prefer more intimate venues with a small group of people that I really enjoy. Um, and unfortunately, Magfest is not a great place for that because, especially when you hang out with people who are well known, uh, the squad continues to grow every time. And so there are points during Magfest where I'm standing there and I'm like, oh, this is not fun. like, but obviously I don't say anything because I'm at Magfest. I'm in the presence of people that I love. But like, that's always been very difficult for me. Is like, I really want, you know, that dinner for 4 or 5 rather than 7 or 8. Um, so again, that's why I really appreciated Day Zero. It was sort of that core group that I got to spend time with, and that made me very happy. Um, and unfortunately, just because we're from all over the place, that sort of intimacy is pretty much never going to happen, ever, and that's unfortunate. Um, maybe someday it will. Maybe someday we will all have the resources to make it happen, and that'll be fine and great, and that would be lovely. But unfortunately, day one starts, the squad grows, and it never stops really. um, so what did happen on day one? I don't remember. We got together and we went into the con opening and looked around and got tired of that very quickly because it was very crowded. There was a very large line to get in that I've never stood in before, and I really don't feel the need to get in there to do that again and be there open like right when it opens. That's just sort of how I feel about it, but that's the thing. I will say the marketplace this year was really good. Of course, my favorite Clinkers was there, selling her beautiful acrylics. There was a Perler stall that had all of my favorites. She was very into making sort of the older Fire Emblem game characters in Perler, and that was amazing. I got one of Urk, who is a character that I would never expect to see on anyone's table, and I got him, and I could have bought all of those and been very happy. She also had The World Ends With You, 999, Danganronpa, I think. Uh, she was after my own heart. All she was really missing was Xenoblade, and that would have been amazing. Um, of course, I'll show the picture later of all the stuff that I got. But the marketplace was really good this year, I feel. I spent a lot of money. Probably spent more money on this MagFest than I have at any other. But it was also because I had to buy a $60 World Ends With You hoodie. And I had a lot of people ask me about it. And after that happened, I was very happy that I did buy it because I will sell my soul for Tui. I will promote it until I can't anymore because it is a great game. Um, so yeah, the marketplace was really good this year. Um, there were a couple of things I was missing. I think the place where I've bought all of my New Orleans with you pins in the past no longer had the pins this year, and that sucks. But by and large, I've found quite a bit of stuff that I really liked and really enjoyed. There was not enough time skip in net. What is wrong with you people? There's not enough time skip in net. Um, a lot of the three houses stuff was, and Fire Emblem's a weird series to want things for because like there are the three main characters that everyone does art of. So like most places that had Fire Emblem definitely had Dimitri, Edelgard, and Claude. Um, but if they had all the other characters, it was all of the other characters. So there's never really this focus. I think I saw one stall that had time skip in it, particularly, um, which is unfortunate because she is best girl. There was another stall that actually just had kind of like Lysithia on her own, which was cute. But unfortunately, Fire Emblem is a vast game, and it is a bit difficult to find, uh, the characters you like sometimes if they're not the main ones. But yeah, the marketplace was really good. I was really excited about it. Bought a couple of beautiful prints, so that's nice. Um, I spent a lot of time in there, and I enjoy spending a lot of time in there because a lot of the time you are with a smaller group when you're in there, or it breaks off, and you know you really sort of get to talk about what you like and don't like and all that sort of. I mean, most not what you don't like, but you do get to talk about what you like, and what's enjoyable and what's awesome for that year. Unfortunately, I really don't feel like I got into a whole lot this year, or this past year. It was just Fire Emblem Three Houses mostly. Um, I'm glad I wasn't looking for anything Astral Chain related because there was no Astral Chain stuff there. I've only played it for 2 hours myself, so maybe that's why. But yeah, I mean that's always one of the highlights for me. Um, let's see. Day one was the one where we went to Succotash, I think, for dinner. A nice group of us. Some people, I think West and McBall had joined at that point. Um, that was interesting. I liked the decor of the place. However, I'm pretty sure the food um, was a factor in my stomach getting wrecked for the weekend. Um, and honestly, part of that was my stupidity. I shouldn't have relied on Pepto Bismol. I should have just took something strong and just like not dealt with it the rest of the weekend. That would have been smart. But yeah, I get, despite the fact that Magfest is only an hour drive away, which is like child's play. Um, I do get like traveler's anxiety. I think I may talk about this in the other vlog, but it's like it's very hard for my body to adjust to doing things that aren't work. Like staying out for 8 hours and having it also not be work, but also have it be kind of physically harder than work. I don't know. So it's I think that's a part that is rather difficult. So I was sort of dealing with that, and in fact, I think night one was the one where I kind of just stayed in low key and tried to work it out. I'm trying to think. I think it was. MagFest is only really 3 days and Sunday, so yeah, that was day one. Day two was Friday. Um, that was the day of Throne Controllers, which was shorter than usual. Um, I think an hour and a half is the sweet spot for Throne Controllers. Um, I think certainly. 2 hours was like long last year. It was a bit too long, but an hour and a half I think is perfect. Um, and it was a pretty decent show. Um, the projector thing kind of limited a little bit because it made them. It probably took more time away from the panel than anyone really wants to admit. But it was fairly enjoyable. Um, I always love watching people play video games in a live environment like that. It's so goddamn hype. Um, like it really is a big mood. Like when people are playing video games and everyone in the crowd sort of understands what's going on because it's fast paced and someone's about to win and someone's about to lose, and I don't know. It's always been very exciting. What did we do before that? I think we just chilled. Was that the day? That was the day everyone did Ace Attorney cosplay and I tied a bunch of people's ties, you know which was fun. Um, so I think that was the day I started buying everything under the sun. um, for one, and I think that's what we did before the panel, and then that was pretty much it. And then after the panel, we had mod dinner, which was very nice, always enjoyable. Twy rode the bull, obviously the highlight of that. Twy and I spent the entire dinner exchanging accents. He did that there Wisconsin accent, and in turn I did my Peter Capaldi impression for a while, and I haven't listened to Peter Capaldi in a while, so it was shit. Um, but yeah, I mean that was pretty fun too. And then we broke for a little while. I went to Super Eye Patch Wolf, which was very interesting because in his videos he's this low key Irishman who talks about how much passion he has for certain bits of media. He's a great inspiration to me and me doing my vlogs. And in real life, he was like, "Yes, hello, I'm tipsy. Me, fight me, bro." about wrestling and sports and Star Wars and cats, and it's like, okay, all right, maybe not exactly what I expected, but it was very cool to see him. Because he's apparently been to like 5 MAGFests, and that's like, all right, well, it's amazing the people you don't realize are there. Of course, I really only got into his video almost 2 years ago when I discovered his Yu Yu Hakusho one, and that was very cool. Go watch it. Um, and then after Eye Patch Wolf, I hung out with Di and Tim in challenges, and then I was tired, so I went to bed. Saturday was probably my favorite day of the con. Um, I woke up and went down and played Tetris Attack for half an hour, which was fun, and I need to get playing that game. Um, I went up and down the stairs a couple times because there's a Nintendo rep there, and I wanted to swipe some posters. Um, and then we hung out some, and then we went to the. Oh, Saturday was the day we went to Grace Mandarin, which was really fun. Um, I enjoyed my experience there many times more than I did last year, because I got to sit with people I wanted to be with, and because it was the first meal. Look, let me tell you something right now. I need to learn how to eat out more than once in a week because I got sick of it. Like, we went to Succotash first time, had chicken sandwich. Went to Cadillac Ranch the next night, had a chicken sandwich. And it's like the food is like it's like greasy and shit. It's like it's good, but it's like you can feel the fucking fat like in you, and it's not probably not a great thing to be stuffing your face with when you're experiencing this sort of odd out of body traveler something or other. You know what I mean? Like, you know. And when we went to Grace Mandarin, it was actually quite nice because I got a bit of food that wasn't like super fried. I got the teriyaki chicken, and it was like nice to actually have a decent sort of food in me. But Grace Manor was great. I don't know why I'm doing a play by play, honestly, but so what we'll do is we'll jump ahead to my favorite part of the night, or pretty much the entire con. Actually, we went to the atrium and hung out with Adrisaurus for a little bit. Liam Six was there, and then we took the squad up to my room and played Smash. And let me tell you something. That was something that I would hope would happen the entire con. I was like, all right, by Saturday you're tired. Look, you know, Thursday is a full day, Friday is a full day. By Saturday, most of the panels are over. Most of the panels are over. Um, Although we did have the TRG Q&A session, which I completely neglected to talk about, but this is my favorite part of the con, so you can ask everybody else about the Q&A. You know, that to me again is part of that's what I want to happen at MagFest. I want my group, my friends, to hang out in the same place, doing things that I can't otherwise do. Multiplayer video games, you know, on our own terms, in our own time, in the comfort of our company. That the doing Smash with everyone, hanging out, chilling, was my favorite part of the con, and I kept hoping it would happen, and I'm so glad it did. Like I don't know, it's just what I want. Like playing video games in the same room as other people is a fun experience. That's why it's video games, man. Like I just ah he's like you don't get it until it happens, but it's like it's a beautiful experience, and that was probably my favorite part of the con. And of course, Sunday we just kind of hung out. We went to Elevation Burger again, which was nice, but it wasn't my birthday, and I didn't get a free milkshake. So I guess that's the summary of MagFest, the play-by-play. You know, God, it's just it's hard. Like I said again, someone keep track of how many times I say "like I said" in the other one. Like I said in the other one, um, you want to hang on to those memories. You want to hold them tight. You want to not forget anything. And it's like, it's kind of a reason why I wanted to do a play-by-play. But it's like, it's hard to remember all the jokes and the funny things that were said, and the fucking wind blowing all around on the way to Elevation Burger and back. Because that I don't want to forget, because that was hilarious. Um, you know, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to go through all of that, and you know, realize that you have nothing like that for a year. And granted, I will say that once it rolled around, it felt like it had been like no time since the last MagFest. Like it was kind of weird to just be there again. Like, wow, I just did this last weekend. Um, that's something that happens as you get older, and I hate it. um, because in a way, the wait is something that I guess she's still in here. The wait is something that sort of like makes it all that much sweeter when you finally get there. But it's a thing. So the other thing I want to say about Magfest is that it always puts into perspective like sort of where I am in life. Again, the fact that I am incredibly disappointed that I have to go back to being a full-time bank teller right now is something that I think is very telling for me and where I'm at in my life. Magfest always inspires me to do lots of things. At Magfest, when I'm at Magfest, I stand there and I say, why don't I stream anymore? Why don't I make more videos or Let's Plays or anything like that? Why don't I put the work in and learn and all that? And it's all very ideal. It's all very ideal because at Magfest, I'm full of inspiration and fire and wanting to do all of this stuff. But at the same time, it's sort of like, once I get home, all of that melts away because I don't have the other people sort of spurring me on. And I'm a very extroverted introvert where I thrive off of the comments of other people. And after MagFest, none of that is guaranteed. Learned that the hard way last year. I still very strongly feel the way I did after last MagFest, where I would love everyone that I hung out with to be constant friends this year. I want to do co-coms with you. I want to do videos together with you. I want to do vlogs together with you, or my video essays as I delve deeper into that. I want to do Discord calls and small and large, because again, I don't do well in crowds, especially not on Discord when you can't see everyone, so it's very easy to talk over one another. So yeah, it's all very hopeful. It's all very ideal, but it's any energy you get from Magfest is easily expended just getting through post-con depression, which sucks. That being said, 2020, I I want it to be. I want to do everything I said I was going to do last year. I want to try and get and do it this year. The one thing I'm proud of that I did last year, on a large, on a more longer term scale, obviously I was proud of like going to Pennsylvania to visit my friend, and also Twy, who is also my friend, so I don't really have to make that say that. Um, I don't know. That's weird. Now I'm just mixed up with names, and I was like, oh, why didn't you say what your other friend's name was? I don't know. She would probably like to hear it, but she knows who she is. So anyway, and I love her, and fucking let's hang out soon because I want to do that. And also I have shit for you now. Whatever. But yeah, I was proud of myself for getting into video essays. Um, the format has just been like this so far, granted, but I would definitely love to expand into doing video essays proper with footage from whatever I'm talking about and all that stuff. That said, I want to one of my goals is definitely going to be to stream more and stream better. So I would like to at some point obtain a capture card and be able to start doing Switch streams and stuff better. Um, because I that's just something I want to do, and I'm hoping that I can gain a bit of traction with that, and so I mean that way it opens the door to streaming and it opens the door to doing more video essays and stuff like that better, because that's sort of where I want to get to. I feel like that's kind of my passion and my niche, would be to do sort of analytical video essays, and that's I think a place where I would like to start. I also want to do more art and writing, writing more than art. So like art is a thing that I do and I like doing it, and I would love to improve and get better and start doing more of it. But I think writing is my not just my passion but my strength, and I've talked about that previously. Um, and I think it's a skill that I need to come back into honing this year. The issue with writing is that people have to commit to reading it, and I don't think a lot of people have time for that. This more reading requires your undivided attention, and I think that's difficult. I think doing video essays, for example, and or doing a video like this where I'm sort of reading off of something, except I'm not reading off of something in this one. Doing a video where I'm reading is a little bit easier for people because they can sort of put it on in the background while they're browsing the internet or whatever. So yeah, one of my goals is certainly to do that, um, and get that going. Uh, you know, and I think another big goal for this year is to be a little bit more social. Um, this is an awkward phenomenon that happens to me at MAGFest, and I wish I would have talked about it sooner in the video, but whatever. I'll be in a group with Twy and Diana and Tim and people like that, and uh, a lot of people will come up and be like, "Hey, man, it's good to not to me. We'll come up to them and be like, "Hey, man, it's good to see you. Glad to see you. Whatever, all that stuff. There are people who will come up to the group and they'll go, "Hey, Tim. Hey, Diana. Hey, Twy," and then they'll look right past me, and it's like, I'm here too. And I make it a point too, to keep my badge flipped around so that it always says who I am in case people recognize the username, because I don't know, maybe they will. Um, and it's always been the case, and it's always baffled me that sort of I probably know more people than know me. I can name a lot of people, and I guess I don't know. Maybe I should just say hi and pretend. I don't like. Look, I guess my point is, I don't understand how people are like that. I don't understand how you get to that level with people. I don't. I just I don't, and I want to learn. I want to learn how to get to that level where people are like, "Oh man, it's good to see you." Oh hey, it's Funk. I've been looking forward to hanging with you. And the people who do that are great. Don't let me dissuade you, but it's very interesting being the one person in the group that people tend to go, you know, like it's a weird feeling, and I don't like it. And one of my goals for next year, I think, is just to yeah, try and be in a place where that happens more, either for people liking my content or my streams or my videos or whatever, um, to people just knowing who I am because I'm a little bit more active in the community. I guess my cardinal sin when I watch streams is that I tend to put them on in the background and not participate in chat a whole lot. Or when I do, it's not really talking with people. But again, I don't understand how people get to build that rapport with each other outside of Magfest or whatever. I don't get it. What makes people popular? That's my question. What makes people want to see other people? So if you got an answer to that, let me know because I want to know. Um, so that was the other thing. So I mean, my goal is to be a little bit more social and to certainly be more supportive in the community at large, because I think that makes a good. Um, so yeah, we're certainly looking. I certainly want to look at that. Like those are my goals in 2020. Like I have a lot of goals in 2020, and I don't know. Maybe this isn't the video for that, but certainly more writing and arts, continuing and improving my videos and streaming abilities. Um, want, need, should do, all of that. Um, being a little bit more social, going into streams with by people I am not super familiar with, and trying to make friends with them, and in general just supporting them. Definitely something I want to do. Um, and last and unrelated, I just need to work on myself this year. I think last year in a lot of ways was really a test of who I was, you know. And I think if anything, last year put into perspective where I'm at in life, and I think it made it clear that I am not where I want to be. And in 2020, my goal, simply put, at large, this overarches all of the previous goals that I've mentioned. My previous goal is to just experiment. My goal is to just experiment and to learn. I want to learn things. I want to become more knowledgeable about things. I want to explore new things this year. I want to see where my passions lies. Like I've said a million times, I've lost the plot. I've lost the plot of my life, and I'm sorry that's appeared in like 4 or 5 vlogs now. But 2020 is going to be the year where I can sort of, say I've found it again, or at least found a plot that suits me. This means looking into my work life and seeing if that works for me. Looking into maybe I need to go back and extend and continue my education. Find a field I'm passionate in. That's a big issue for me. Is that I don't, if I were to go back to school, I don't know what it would be for. Um, you know, just I just want to improve myself. Um, and I'm always open to people giving their thoughts and their introspection. I'm a thoughtful individual. I will credit myself with this. I'm absolutely a thoughtful individual. If you give me a problem or you ask me an opinion, like I can tell you with confidence that I will give it the proper amount of thought that it deserves. And I will give you an answer based on that. You know what I mean? So, you know, I, I'm a thoughtful person, in one way or another. So I'm always ready for people to sort of ask their opinions of me and all that sort of stuff. So, um, but yeah, I mean, this year I just want to experiment. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say, about that. But Magfest 2020 was great. I very much appreciated how it rolled this year. Um, just being with other people. Um, where's my little note? I wrote a note to myself about things I wanted to remember for next year, little tips and tricks. The first one was carry water at all times. Always carry water at MagFest because sometimes the distance between meals is vast, and the amount of physical activity you will do between them will necessitate that you drink water in order to stay hydrated. And I think that was one of my issues with meals, is that I also downed a lot of water because I was fucking thirsty. Second one is to bring cold remedies. I brought lots of medicine for headaches and stomachs, but not to remedy a cold if I got one. So that was kind of shitty. So always remember to do that. Yeah, and then the last note is that definitely go home when it's time to go home and not when you say it's time to go home, because you're not right. Because you will overstay your welcome. You will drag it out, and that's not a great feel. And again, recording this in the middle of post-con depression, I'm not in a great feel right now. I'm just not. In a way, I'm happy to be back in my room with my bed and all the comforts of home, my laptops, and my reliable, good internet. But in a way, it just sucks. I know that MAGFest can't last forever. I know that there can't just be one long MAGFest. But just a little bit, man. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of that spirit. People wanting to know where I am and how I am and what I'm doing, Just a little bit of that camaraderie. Just a little bit of people saying, hey, and I want to interact with you. It sucks going back to this. It really does. You come down off of that high and you're just like, what is my life? And, again, mine's not great, which is why I want to expand and learn and do new things. So that's the introspection vlog. I'm still planning to stream tonight, as it is my birthday, and it is the perfect time to do so post-mag. And hopefully that'll be a lot of fun, and we'll get people in, and we'll talk about MAGFest and all the good times and all that stuff in that. So if this was a bit weird and depressing, well, welcome to my fucking channel. Again, I'm very introspective, obviously, and my vlogs tend to run differently than everyone else's. So there you go. So MAGFest next year, 2021. Looking forward to it. Hopefully, we'll get the complete roster. We'll get the complete fam. We'll get, all the people who couldn't make it this year. Certainly Reckless Link, Fahrenheits, Poltergust, my boys from the Nintendo Capri Sun Discord, all that stuff. We'll have plenty of returning people. Met the 8-Bit Drummer. Would love to see him again. Liam Six hung out with us a lot of the time, and I loved hanging with him. He's such a good guy. Very positive outlook on him, which is great. I can't have that positive of an outlook, but I certainly envy the people that do. Hopefully we will have the whole squad there next year. That would be the dream. That would make it like the best MAGFest ever. I always hesitate to sort of say like best MAGFest ever. I do think that this was the best one. But there's always potential for better MAGFest. And I know it sounds weird. I'm like, oh, I don't do well in crowds, but I want 3 more people there. I mean, it would feel good. I mean, a lot of some of the people that were missing this year were just like they're my fam, and it sucks to not to say the fam is together, but to have such glaring omissions for me is not great. But obviously I'm very thankful for those who were there, and that was a nice time. There was someone else I was gonna say. Yeah. Oh, on the best mess fag. Wow. No, don't repeat that one. That one wasn't good. The best MAGFest. Missed. Okay. Yeah, that is what that is with the letters reversed. Oops. So yeah. Last year I think was the most impactful MAGFest because again I didn't know I had a squad. I had someone I thought was like affectionate for me, and that was very strange, and I didn't know how to handle that. So what was I gonna say? So yeah, last year was a bit more impactful because I sort of feed off the drama, and there was very much not any drama at this MAGFest. So which is a good thing because it makes it easier to leave. And certainly, I don't think that I think that this MAGFest will age better than the last one did, because the last one was sort of this weird thing for me where I latched onto it and was like, and you know, sort of held onto it so hard that my nails dug into my hand and it started bleeding. You know, like it's like you hold onto it too much, it's a bad thing, and then you start like. My issue was I expected too much and and like I expected too much of the people I went with and sort of got not that much in return, and that sucked. But people are people. This year, I think the expectations for people are a lot lower, and that's good. Um, wow. So have I signed off like 3 times now? Because it's not a vlog if I don't sign off like 3 times. But yeah, if you've watched this far, thank you for watching. If you are a new watcher from MAGFest or a new friend from MAGFest, thank you also for watching. I have a myriad of other vlogs and stuff on my channel. And I hope to make more, and I hope to up the quality and stuff this year. So, yeah. Also, I turned 28 today. What a birthday. I think I mentioned that already.